Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. August 5, 2019 goes down in the history of Kashmir as the darkest day. It marks the onset of a settler colonial project that seeks to control by all means Jammu and Kashmir and the Kashmiri people, take hold of their land and other resources. By abrogating Article 370 and 35A unilaterally, the India's apartheid regime led by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi committed an egregious constitutional fraud. The contentious move aimed at suppressing the Kashmiris' legitimate political aspirations ran counter to the United Nations Security Council resolutions and other international covenants. Following this illegal, unconstitutional and immoral move, the Hindu supremacist regime intensified its efforts to give a practical shape to its settler colonial agenda that seeks to alter the region's demography by settling outsiders, non-state subjects. Bringing Israel's settler model in Kashmir, the Indian government enacted a series of new laws in addition to modifying Kashmir's age-old domicile law, which ultimately paved the way for non-Kashmiris to settle in the state. In a bid to convert Muslim majority of the state into a minority, the Indian occupation authorities issued fake domicile certificates to millions of non-state subjects since 2019. After the unconstitutional, illegal and immoral action of 5th August 2019, the occupied Jammu and Kashmir was turned into an open-air prison. A crippling siege coupled with communication blockade was imposed to make sure that no one raises her voice against this disgusting move, which pushed the dispute territory deeper into a quagmire of chaos and uncertainty that reigns supreme in the region. India's illegal and belligerent military occupation of Jammu and Kashmir continues to pose a serious existential threat to Kashmir's indigenous population that lives in a constant fear of being turned into a minority and eventually driven out of their motherland. Sadly, the world community and especially the influential world governments choose to stay silent over the humanitarian crisis that unfolded in Kashmir in the aftermath of 5th August 2019. Let me salute the martyrs of Kashmir freedom movement who laid their lives for the noble cause of freedom. I pay my homage to the struggle and sacrifices of the resilient Kashmiri nation that stood to its ground against all odds and rejected the India's unilateral move. Jammu and Kashmir is a United Nations recognized disputed territory that needs to be resolved in line with the United Nations Security Council resolutions, which clearly state that the question of Jammu and Kashmir should be decided through the democratic method of a free and impartial plebiscite. It is high time that the international community, especially the United Nations, must realize their moral obligations and play their due role to help resolve the lingering dispute peacefully in line with the Kashmiris' aspirations. I appeal to international human rights institutions and organizations to raise their voices against the atrocities and human rights violations in occupied Jammu and Kashmir. I strongly believe the sacred blood of the Kashmiri martyrs will ultimately pave the way for the freedom of Kashmir. The road to freedom is certainly difficult, but its destination is not far. I salute the Pakistan Army for creating an unprecedented history of sacrifices for the defense of the homeland. I also thank people and government of Pakistan for their continued political, moral and diplomatic support to Kashmir's legitimate struggle for right to self-determination. Long live Kashmir, long live Pakistan.